Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/ProRevenge. Let's start our video with a story in which our OP may have saved several lives by his actions. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. You better be prepared to show me current insurance. Having been in the car business for many years, I've had my fair share of cars towed/moved around for various reasons, and a few years back I lost a Shelby GT500 in a truck accident. That truck was not properly insured and the company went bankrupt. Lesson learned. Well, I had to move a couple vehicles, so I called up a trucking company and they arranged for a truck to come by and pick up the cars. I was there that day. When the driver came in, I introduced myself and asked if he had the proper insurance. He confidently fired back and said, "Course I do." And, "Great, now let me see them. I've been burned too many times." So he walked back to his truck to get what I was assuming was insurance documents. He was taking quite some time, and I approached him and asked if there was any trouble. He said, "I got them, just can't find them." Basically asking me to just trust him. I said that's not going to fly, and if he wants this job, he's going to need to produce insurance papers. He said, "Give me a few minutes," so I did. He came and produced a very well torn up set of documents indicating he had insurance. However, it was very obvious they were altered. The 2008 was really 2007, with pen marking it to appear to be 2008. I smiled and said, "That's great, son. Hey, go inside and have some water while my boys get the cars lined up." He agreed. It was quite hot. So I walked into my office and made 2 phone calls, one to the police, who were very much interested in a licensed truck driver moving cars around without insurance. His company was none too pleased and advised me to call them back once the police made their determination on what would happen. The police showed up in a fairly short amount of time. I invited them into my office and then went ahead and grabbed the truck driver, told him I had some release documents he needed to review prior to loading up. He followed me right into my office where our local police officer was kindly waiting. The officer asked to see license, registration, and insurance. I left the office figuring I'd provide no further value past this point. A few minutes later, they walk out to his truck. I see him on the phone and the cop standing by. After about 30 minutes or so, I see the cop start writing what was one of many tickets. Apparently, his tags were out of date, his insurance was expired by over 6 months, numerous parts of his log looked extremely fishy, and he failed several important safety protocols. He looked none too pleased. Also, I mentioned the altered insurance document to the officer. So yeah, I called up the company that had arranged his services and advised them of the situation, and I was greeted with quite the surprise. One, they'd send another truck driver over to move the vehicles free of charge, as in I pay nothing, and I received a $500 credit for future services. I'm confident the driver in question is no longer a truck driver. Just to clarify some things, the man had tried to pass off forged insurance documents. This was a major red flag to me. This man lied to my face. This made me suspect there was more than just a paperwork problem. The cop found numerous safety violations, logbook issues, and lapsed insurance. We don't want big 18-wheelers on the road that don't have the proper safety equipment, with a sleepy driver without insurance. All truck drivers know about those laws. All of them know how to follow them. Would you rather this guy fall asleep at the wheel and hit a minivan full of kids and then get busted, or get busted before that? Number one thing any good trucker should know is where your papers are and to keep them in great condition and keep them in the right order. Even just the wrong order can cause you fines and wasted time. And our second story. To my boss, I can see this eating you alive. My boss, we'll call him Steve, is one of those guys who's always attached to his email. Whether he's at his desk or answering them from his phone, he'll stop the conversation immediately and read the email. No warning. The sound will go off, he'll stop mid-sentence, read, and reply to every email. This annoys me a lot. While going over a very important project, well into the $40 to $50 million range and long-term, I'm briefing him on talking points and covering the PowerPoint on the projector. A few slides in, he gets an email. Immediately, Steve pulls out his phone and begins reading and replying. I've dealt with this for years, and this is where the revenge begins. I'm on slide 6, and while he's buried in his phone, I progress the slide to 13 and patiently wait for him to end. He looks up, oblivious to my trickery. Mind you, he has to present this within a few hours to top-tier business management, and this is a project that we've been working on for months. I finish briefing him on the rest of the slides, we take lunch, and eventually the guests arrive for their briefing. Steve's taking charge of the meeting, and I retreat to my office, where I can still clearly watch the presentation, but don't have to participate. Steve's hobnobbing, talking our guests up, laughing and joking. As he's talking to one particular VP, he gets an email. And in normal craplord fashion, he stops mid-conversation and reads it. The VP did not like this, not one bit. He interrupts Steve's email reply with a hand wave and a, "Let's continue." This is where I get my second idea for revenge. Eventually, Steve gets to the PowerPoint presentation, yammering on like he's the one who spent all the time on the fancy fly-ins, formatting, research, etc., until he gets to slide 7. I can see him pause, break his jovial manner, and begins reading word for word what's on the slide. He's no longer chipper and poised. He's floundering. Little does Steve know that I'm about to launch an email war on his psyche that he's ill-prepared for. See, since I've been in my office, I've been collecting all the emails that came in that needed replies, drafted the replies, and have them sitting on my desktop. I've CC'd Steve to every one of them because I'm just that good of an employee. As he skips to the next slide, I send the first email. I hear his phone jingle, he pauses, and instinctively reaches for his phone, throwing him off his presentation. He looks around and then continues. A minute later, I send the next email. Then, after a short pause, the next. And the next. I can see him sweating bullets, his brain imagining some catastrophic failure somewhere in our building, in shipping, in product sourcing, etc. But he can't check his emails without breaking from the presentation and pissing off the executives. It's still going on. I have about 8 more emails to send, and he has about an hour until he'll be able to slink away and cower over his phone like Gollum holding the One Ring. I'm glad I went to work today. Update. I just made myself a bagel with cream cheese. It was delicious. The meeting's still progressing. I've sent a few more emails and have drafted more. Update 2. The PowerPoint is finished, and I've set up the next part of the program, the video conference. No one's taken a break yet except Steve. He had to go to the bathroom and was in there for at least 10 minutes. He responded to 2 of my emails. Update 3. Steve came into the office to see if I can run for some food for everybody. I told him I was really bogged down with emails, but I'm sure I can find some time. Update 4. I've sent 57 emails to him today, only 1 directly. I've rescheduled the janitorial service, which was 4 emails alone, plus their responses. I've sent an email to the entire staff and local regional team, over 100 people, requesting computer information for a software integration project, and instructed everyone to email myself and Steve with their results. Update 5. Holy end of the world. Steve's phone died and he forgot his charger. I heard him banging around his office, let out an exasperated sigh, and then head for mine. I quickly plugged in my company phone. Sure enough, he wants to borrow my charger. Sorry, Steve, my phone's almost dead and I have a conference call in 20 minutes. The look on his face and the air of defeat around him is palpable. I think he's going into withdrawal. He honestly pulled his phone from his holster 3 or 4 times, either to make sure it was really dead or because he's feeling phantom vibration notifications. This is awesome. I love that he seems so self-involved that he's not catching on to what you're doing. And our last story. Be a POS all your life? Have fun being stuck in a city of crime? This revenge was performed by my mom and her epic mind. It all started when I was born. Life was happy, good, and easy. My brother was a good and working person, college dropout, but always very smart. Or that's what we thought. My brother went out every night with his friends. Nothing alarming, but very weird. Time passed and I turned 10 years old. At this point, my brother had a girlfriend, a son, and had already moved out. It was fun. Until my brother moved back with me and my parents. Crap truly hit the fan there. The first day we noticed an instant change in both his personality and appearance. You see, he didn't move back in alone, he came with his son and girlfriend. We asked why he came back, and he simply said they had a problem and this was temporary. For his girlfriend, to which I'll refer as D, and his son, this was true. But he stayed for the rest of this story in our house. When Dee and her son left, she cut contacts with both our family and my brother, but occasionally asking for money. Don't tag her as bad just now because she had a very good motive. My brother, after this, became a good-for-nothing piece of crap with everybody in the house. Turns out his friends actually were his dealers. You know the stuff. Later, we asked why did they truly leave another house, and he said, I had a fight with her brother and dad. It was vague, but it was true. Sometime around 2018, when I turned 11, we occasionally went to visit Dee and her son. One of those times, my mom asked why she cut contacts. The truth was that my brother was emotionally, physically, and verbally abusing her. She didn't press charges and still refuses to do so because of fear. My mom became enraged at him, but didn't do anything just yet. Years passed. My brother stayed in our house, fights between my brother and everybody here. I started showing signs of depression around those times. I was 11 years old. Imagine how crappy this was for me. More time passed, and it's now 2020, and his first fight with my dad, his stepdad, just happened. My mom was leaving to go to Culiacan, and right after the fight, my brother asked if he can go. My sister, which was not relevant to this story, offered to buy him a plane ticket. This is where the revenge starts. You see, my sister bought a ticket to go, but not to come back. Mom was the one to come up with this plan. My brother didn't know this at the time. Culiacan is a city known for being home to various drug cartels. Sinaloa, the state where Culiacan is pretty much horrible. More if you're like my brother. The day my mom returned is when I was notified about all this. I was expecting my mom to come back with my brother, but she came home alone. My brother was left alone in a hotel with no money, no family, nothing. He tried calling us multiple times through public phones, but wasn't successful at all. Unless he gets a job in a house, he's in big trouble. It's the first time in years I've truly felt happy. Thanks a lot for reading all my nonsense. Revenge is a dish best served cold. There aren't words to describe how frozen that is. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.